What's up guys and welcome back. So I'm going to be walking you through a game of Smite teleport support Sion, and this is a game where it actually worked really well and there was extremely good synergy between the jungler and myself. Obviously this strategy is going to work optimally if you're really good at timing jungle camps, and a great way to get better at that is by just playing it over and over until you pretty much instinctively know when these camps are coming up. Or you can just take a shortcut and install the sponsor of today's video, which is Professor.gg. Throughout this video, you're going to see me using it. It's really a no-brainer when it comes to the strategy and just playing the game in general. It tracks both your team and enemy junglers' camps. You can even track their stamina spells. I mean, there's also a bunch of other great features that we're not going to go into in this video. But if you do decide to try out this strategy, highly recommend you download Professor. Use the link in my description. Helps out the channel. Everyone wins. Let's get into the video. First off, jumping into the game, you can see that I pick up the jungle item, not the support item. I go for the blue smite for the slow. I also pick up a control ward, a potion, and a sweeper. I then ping the living shit out of my team to make them follow me into an invade, because the problem is the enemy team isn't stupid. They see that I'm running smite, they see I'm running teleport, so they're going to be trying to stack the bush, right? So we head down to the bot lane, and you see me sweeping the bush. We end up clearing a ward. Keep in mind, we get 3% for clearing that ward, 3% experience, and this is actually super important because if we kill a jungle camp, it's going to give us level 2 immediately. I then lead my team into the enemy red side jungle. The goal here is to get some vision onto the enemy buff or jungle camps. The more wards the better, quite honestly. I'm trying to get an understanding of where he's starting and how to rotate around the map. My Rek'Sai was offering for me to take his blue, but that's not what we want to achieve with this strategy. I'm trying to take gold away from my opponent. So I want to take gold only away from my enemy jungler. I don't want to be putting my jungle behind in any way possible. You'll never see me take a camp that I think my jungler could potentially take. In this particular situation, Kha'Zix runs straight from his red buff to his blue, crossing through the control ward I put down. So I attempt to not use my smite on this camp. If he had come straight to me, I'd obviously smite it, but keeping the smite up as an option to then steal the blue after makes a lot more sense to me. A big thing to note is that we wouldn't be level 2 in this instance if we didn't clear that ward out with the sweeper in the bot lane. And I'm clearly using that edge that we got from it to bully out the Kha'Zix. I'm pretty much running interception. You see me attack that blue with no intention at all of taking it. I'm only pulling it so that he can't pull it into the fog of war and potentially take it. So if I pull it, it's going to reset. It's purely wasting his time. Every second we waste of Kha'Zix means that our jungler, Rek'Sai, is getting ahead because I know he is farming. At this exact moment, our Rek'Sai has killed 3 jungle camps and the enemy Kha'Zix has only killed 1. I'm still in the process of figuring out the best strategy when it comes to Smite Teleport Sion, but what I've realized is what this Rek'Sai did here was extremely smart, allowing me to take the blue and the Gromp, giving me level 3. It's so important for this strategy because if he takes that camp there, I end up underleveled. And the way you should be thinking about it is, because I think most junglers are going to be thinking that if they take that, they're denying the enemy jungler. But realistically, I'm taking that anyway. So the sooner he just runs over and secures his side of the map, the sooner we're taking more from the enemy Kha'Zix. So what that Rek'Sai did there was extremely smart. I was thinking about recalling and teleporting to bot, but Scyther was holding the lane quite fine, and this would be the best chance for her to catch back up in terms of experience / gold. So I figured maybe it's best if I just walk mid, and what you see me do is the same thing I was doing with the Kha'Zix. I am purely stalling, denying Fizz the opportunity to go and push his wave in, just wasting his time, honestly. It's such a small thing that makes a huge impact. You'd be surprised how much these tiny experience edges help solo laners. It's so funny watching the Kha'Zix walk to his blue side knowing you took every single camp there, so you know he's just walking into nothing. Oh yeah, I totally forgot to mention that in the lobby, post-game, you should be letting your ADC and even your team know that you're going to be doing this strategy, allowing your ADC to pick a champion that they feel comfortable enough to 1v2 on. Notice how I take as much gold as I can from the Kha'Zix and then leave him with a tiny minion to deal with, so he doesn't get the camp reset, because I don't think I'm going to be coming back to this camp again. I also want you to take note of how I end up rotating to my Sivir in these early levels, trying to help him reset the wave. I know I'm putting my ADC back in terms of gold, very early in the game. So it's important that we keep him in the mix, because he's going to actually end up getting experience advantage overall because I'm not in lane. And that's how he's going to make up that gap and eventually take a lead. But that can be denied if you just let your ADC completely get wiped out. It's important to hover and secure the lane. As I mentioned in the game, my teleport is purely for level 1, trying to take a different side of the map once I die during my initial cheese. Also, after that point, it's purely for trying to defend my ADC if he gets dove. That's what it's there for, and it's important to let your ADC know that's the goal of it. This is something that I've noticed a lot. Once you're creating significant amount of pressure on the map doing this strategy, and I assume people start complaining in chat on their team, the enemy support tends to follow. He tends to try and help his team, which leaves your ADC and the opponent's ADC in a 1v1. But the problem for them is that we should already have an edge just being Sion. We should be more useful in these situations, not only because we're running Smite, but because we have CC, we have our passive, and a lot of the time we're going to have a level advantage too. Additionally, your ADC is going to have that level advantage because you started roaming significantly before the enemy support did. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have used my teleport there, but at this point in the game, I'm confident that Sivir isn't going to be Tower Dove. He's quite safe, bigger than the opponent, but I got punished anyway, so it is what it is. We are so far ahead. Rek'Sai can easily 1v1 the Kha'Zix because we've taken almost every camp he's got. Now, look at my experience bar. Look how quickly I can get to level 6 and then use my level 6 to potentially go and gank bot lane or whatever. All this is happening while on the other side of the map, Rek'Sai is just completely demolishing that Kha'Zix. I thought there was something so funny about me gifting away Rek'Sai's blue buff to the Syndra, even though it's not even my jungle. Just, I don't know. Seems so bold. But obviously, Rek'Sai's on the top side of the map. He's not going to be coming to blue side for a very long time. We've pretty much divided the map in half, except we get an additional jungle quarter. I always see the question, like, how come when I play Sion, I'm so useless with my passive? And this is why. See how I know I'm going to die, and I position myself in a location that doesn't benefit the enemy. They're like getting pushed into a cove, and they have to run all the way around it. That benefits our passive quite a lot, and it sets them behind. That's the goal with this play here. So basically, if you know you're going to die, position in a spot that benefits your team. The enemy get put into this awkward position where they're playing a 2v1 lane, they're getting pressured by their team, asking them why they're losing that 2v1 lane. So they end up overextending quite often, and you could really use that to your advantage if you work together with your jungler. And that's what we do here. The Rek'Sai and the Sion flank the enemy bot lane and pick up the easy double kill, because really, how are they going to get away? We've got 2 smites. I'm running chilling smite. I've got my E, I've got my ult, I've got my Q. I mean, there's no escape. Another important thing to remember is the runes that we're running. We have a stopwatch, we have demolish. This example, the demolish is what we're using. So you should always be trying to proc demolish every time you help a lane. Like if you gank him, try get that demolish proc. But further explaining this is try take advantage of the runes that we've picked. We've got Futures Market. You saw me take advantage of it by buying the boots early. I have a stopwatch, which means I can tower dive around level 6 and get a free kill if you play it correctly. And then the demolish, I mean, the list goes on. It's just important to make sure you're utilizing all the things that we've chosen. There's not too much I can teach you about the build in the remainder of the game, but what we're going to do is turn it into a little montage, and I'm going to show you just how few camps this Kha'Zix managed to get over the course of the remaining of the game. Spoiler, he barely kills any. I don't think he gets a single one. And there you have it, the 110 Kha'Zix who could barely farm all game. Poor dude. Taking a look at the gold distribution is actually quite interesting at the end of the game. So as you can see in this game, we managed to get a tiny gold lead comparatively to our opponent, the Yuumi. So she stayed in lane and I was roaming. But where the biggest difference is between the two junglers, which is pretty obvious, I imagine. Most importantly, between 3 and 5 minutes, Rek'Sai already has 1,000 gold lead, which is insanity. And that gold difference is basically me taking the gold away from Kha'Zix. When we compare ourselves to Kha'Zix, you can even see that I'm even slightly ahead of him in gold. And then last but not least is the ADCs. As expected, Sivir falls behind in gold in the early game, but that doesn't take into account the gold advantage she would have in levels. So it'll be about even overall. That's all that we have today. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe. If you're going to be trying out Smite Sion, make sure to go into the description and download professor.gg. Helps out the channel, helps you out as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Y'all ain't on this level, bitches, Tilterella. Y'all can never beat them like an acapella.